That's good. Thank you for agreeing for all of this.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Like, I'm a huge fan. I'm like a huge fan of your work, and I love seeing your tweets on Twitter, like
Thank
about
you.
animation or anime, because you seem like a very chill person.
Thank you. Yeah, I've definitely gotten some heat online, like especially on Twitter. I try to not be on there that much anymore because I think I had too many hot takes about specific animation stuff go a little like too far. I think I got one tweet about Netflix that hit like 90,000 likes. And I was just salty because of, them firing a bunch of people.
Oh no,
That was,
no, that's perfectly reasonable. Netflix is being
yeah. Oh, yeah, like it's a little bittersweet because I was there for like 3 years, but like I wasn't let go from there. I just left before all that happened. So, uh, like and stuff's been happening a lot lately. So the industry kind of like ebbs and flows like that sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like animation in general is being disrespected right now. Like, shows are being canceled. Like, animation in general is just being seen as kid stuff, when it is so much more than that.
Oh, incredibly. But then you have like people like Del Toro who are very hard pushing.
Oh my god, I love that guy.
Yeah, I think having like a face right now really helps because like you have people who've always been like, well, animation's not for kids, and like we can say that as much as we want, but we need people who are accepted kind of like by like most social norms, like celebrities or like people who have that social pull to fight for us. And I think Del Toro is doing an amazing job. But also Jim believes it too.
Like, the guy has a huge respect for animation and for people who work on it in general, including voice actors too, because I heard he was excited about having Tom Kenny in his Pinocchio movie.
Yeah, well, I can tell you they care quite a bit. He cares quite a bit about voice actors because even I don't know if this is on like your list of stuff I worked on, but I worked on Troll Hunters was one of my first things I worked on. Netflix, Netflix's Troll Hunters, and that was like kind of co-directed by Del Toro. Well, like I never met him there or anything, and I was like a revisionist at the time, but I think the lead voice actor at the time passed away, and it was a very like sad experience, but they managed to find a very good sound alike, and like so many episodes after were very well like dedicated. The actor slipped my name, unfortunately, slips my mind, but like they treated that very seriously when it happened. I remember like working on the show and being like, oh, what's going to happen? Sure, it was. I think it was some guy from like Star Trek or something.
Oh yeah, I've heard about them. Anton, I think.
Yes.
That was his name. Yeah, he was in the Smurfs. He was also in the Smurfs.
Yeah, he was the main character in Troll Hunters, the night guy. Oh my gosh, I worked on that in 2016, so like it's been a minute.
I need to watch that show. I do.
It's pretty good, and it was like my first like 3D show too, and I learned a lot about like how to do action and stuff. And
that's good experience. Now, my first question I have is what got you into animation and your career in it? And was there any people who inspired you in your works?
Yeah. Like how really we talking inspiring? Because like I started drawing when I was a kid because all my cousins were drawing, and I wanted to draw too, and I'm just the only one who didn't stop drawing. So like we would draw like like Sonic and Marvel characters and Sailor Moon, and we kept going up until our teens, and then like I just kept going, and like they aged down a bit, but like they still like, wait, you're still drawing? And then at some point I just like I didn't stop. But and then how it started is like, when I was a teen, like when I was in high school and stuff, I really wanted to be a history teacher. So like I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, but I would draw in my workbooks and binders and stuff just like all day, and my teachers were like, like I wouldn't focus, and like it wasn't until way later I found out I had ADHD and all that stuff. I filled my things with my whole binders with sketchbooks and margins, and while I was making notes, and I think it was like I did a tutoring class and I didn't enjoy it, because we were talking about drawing. So, and I just were talking to my parents, and they were like, they weren't really against it, but they also didn't understand either. So it took a lot of like push to show them that it was something I could do. So it took me a while though. I tried going to a school like after high school, to an art school, and like it kind of worked out. But then I just had some part-time job. I like, no joke, I worked at McDonald's for 6 years. So I had some like, not great part-time jobs before all this.
Oh, don't we all? I work at a fresh food market.
Totally. And like, and that's still valid now. So like even if you've done an animation job, I've had a few friends who've like, especially with like how jobs are going right now, who've like, they have to take a break and they need money somewhere. Maybe their savings are running out, and like I don't think there's any shame in taking a part, even just to like coast out your burnout. If you need a break, like take whatever job like will help you energize the most. And paying the bills is number one. Commissions, like whatever you can do, like whatever helps.
Yeah, that's some good advice, man. Like, I totally agree. And
Yeah,
those are some good inspirations, and like going your way up into like your passion,
yeah. And it was weird because like like I don't know if I'm from Canada, so I'm not from the U.S., but I've been here for like last like 4 years now. So like I do a lot of like freelance stuff from back home, and that's how I got to work on some shows. Like, but I would have to work my way up to stuff. So like I worked on like 3 or 4 Canadian projects that nobody had ever heard of before I would get tests for stuff from the US. Like my first big breakthrough was like I got a test for Steven Universe, and like that was like just after college, and I was like, okay, all right, this is the big, but I couldn't get it because there was some stuff. It was for a revisionist position, so I would have been sick, but it didn't work out because of visa stuff, so I didn't have enough experience to get the visa. But we stayed in touch though. Like I got to do a test for OKKO later, and like same reason that didn't work out. But because of that connection, I got to work on the OKKO game, and that was animated in Toronto. So I got to work on that from home.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so just kind of like doing a bunch of like smaller projects to get up into the stuff I wanted to do. Like I was obsessed with Adventure Time and Steven Universe were posting their boards on Tumblr, like in like the mid 2010s, and like that's how I knew like that's what I wanted to do. Just like that was the kind of stuff I wanted to draw.
Yeah, those shows were really like an inspiration for like a lot of people growing up in like the 2010s, or in a way like Adventure Time was a show that I think like revived Cartoon Network after it was like not having any animation, and I think and I think the show has really inspired a lot of people to like go back into doing that, or have them be an animator, because the show is very pretty. It has like really stellar animation, and it's just all around,
Yeah, like I didn't even think about like being a storyboard artist in college. I wanted to be an animator. And then so I still do animation jobs every now and then because I like to animate, but I think it was like the publicization of it, like having access to being like, oh, here's how we do storyboards, and like seeing like right after the episode aired, like storyboards for Adventure Time, regular show, Steven Universe, all those coming out like literally the week after or like the week of. And now that's like the norm. Like you'll see like Twitter now, if as soon as an episode comes out, people are like biting to upload their work because everyone's proud of the work, even if that stuff they worked on, if they drew that 2 or 3 years ago, because like production takes a while, they're still excited, and they usually need to show that now to get their next job. And it kind of it's like a double-edged sword a little bit, I think, to like now that's the expectation, because like it'd be great if the studios paid us to publicize, like they're basically advertising for them, but it does work out in our benefit but it's also annoying that we have to network like that too. It's a whole can of beans,
Yeah, it is. But at least you guys are doing the best you can, given some situations and circumstances. So, yeah, full props for that. Now, you worked in many different studios in your career. Were there any differences working in each one? Any similarities?
Every studio definitely has their little differences. Like the Owl House was really only super different because I wasn't in house. I was working from home in Toronto at the time. So I was like, I would still like keep in contact with my director, and I would sometimes bump my board partners. But it was like, like we'd maybe talk like every other day. So like, it was still like kind of lonely. But if you're into like the freelance stuff, like that works out good. But my first in studio, like American studio job was at Netflix, and that was the majority of that. But, I moved here for Centaurworld. I got a visa and I worked on that, and we had wrapped on that completely. And like that was like, because that was like day one of Netflix animation. So like at the beginning it was awesome, and I think that's what everyone should have seen the red flags, honestly, because like when it was like free food, a lot of swag, a lot of like hoodies and bags and stuff, like that's usually a sign they're spending too much money. So
Yeah.
like a lot of the older animation people were like, let's see how long this lasts. But like me, who had just moved here, be like, no, this is amazing. It's going to last forever. What are you talking about? I know a little more now, but like Centaurworld is still like the pillar of what I consider like a great production. Like everybody wanted to be there. Everybody like got along and hung out, and like people wanted to talk to people. Like I've worked on shows where like people don't talk at all. That's fine too. I work really well when I'm on my own sometimes, especially like in a crunch when I need to hit a deadline and I've still got a lot left to do. But we still hang out, the Centaur World crew. Like we still go out and do stuff, and we go drawing or just get coffee or something. But,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, it's like a little thing like that. I consider like the pillar of like, that's what I look for now. Like I don't look for like a project that I want to work on where it's like, this is a cool project, or like or a creator who I think is really cool. Like I look for like a good crew.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, it's nice to know that you're still in contact with them. It's nice to know that you've made some good friends when working on these shows.
Oh yeah, and we all recommend each other for stuff too. Like it's like we're friends, but we're also like good colleagues. Where it's like we've recommended people for jobs, and I've worked with them again already on stuff I can't say yet, but it's not Centaur related at all. That's not happening as far as I know. But so Netflix was like, it was a really good time because it was like day one. Towards the end, it got rough, especially when like quarantine happened. I'd only lived here for like 8 months when COVID happened, and that changed everything. Like we were immediately working from home, and I was used to working from home because like I did that in Canada, but doing that when I had moved somewhere just like shattered. Like so for like the first couple months, it was hard for me to hand in anything. I was struggling a lot, but like I got into my flow eventually. Therapy, go to therapy, guys. It's super important.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing therapy this year, man, because anxiety kicked my ass last year.
Hard agree. Like it's, I feel like if you have any issues, like just like even being able to bounce off somebody, like just getting coffee with a friend, it's just everything, I find like the moments I'm the most like stuck is when I don't leave the apartment. So I've now been like, especially because I'm in between gigs right now, and I've been challenging myself to try and like hang out with friends and catch up like at least once or twice a week now. But yeah, what was I getting at? Netflix. Yeah, so Netflix was like, it was really good when it started and like really rough at the end, and like the writing was on the wall pretty clearly. Like with the recent news, especially like what happened in 2022, like all the layoffs, all the shows, like people were whispering about it there before anything was announced, and we constantly got told like, we haven't announced anything yet, or like, everything's fine. But then I got a job at Cartoon Network, so I bounced in January, and then all of that news happened in like March, May, April, like all the layoffs, all the shows, all like I think a bunch of people trying to find new work. Which I know a bunch of them have landed somewhere else now. So like, but and then obviously like Cartoon Network happened right after. But like I had a really good time at Cartoon Network too. Driftwood was a blast. That crew was the closest I got to having Centaurworld again. Honestly, like Like we still like I catch up with them too. But like I've worked on stuff in between that, like Storybots. I had fun with that. I worked on a show called Key Happy, which is coming out soon, I think. I worked on some stuff at Netflix that didn't get greenlit. I worked at Netflix for like 3 years, so it was like I juggled like a lot of stuff, especially because like when you're on a visa, you have to take work every 60 days, or else you have to get sent back home to Canada. Like there's like a deadline before you have to find more work. So I was just constantly like looking for the next thing at Netflix whenever I was wrapping up. But yeah, the studios are a little different in their own ways. Like Cartoon Network, it was a very cool place to work. It felt like not like a status thing, but like everybody was like, it means something to be here, because like you see all like the drawings on the walls and stuff, and it's like it has a lot of history. Versus Netflix, where it was like it's very new, it's very fresh. Like
Yeah, I heard about the whole Cartoon Network studio being like they're not using the Cartoon Network studio building anymore.
yeah, I don't know how legit that is. I do know like especially after the layoffs, like there's been talks about it, but I remember seeing a tweet going around a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure how like legit it is, because. But then I've also seen higher ups talk about it too. You know,
Yeah,
not
I just hope
my
it's
face,
true.
but yeah, me too. Like, I mean, that was the whole like Cartoon Network was my dream studio for a long time. Like, because I wanted to work on KO, I wanted to work on Steve Universe. I like that was my inspiration to start doing this. You know?
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Like Steven Universe was the reason why I went back into doing voice acting, and I wanted to get in on it. I wanted to voice act on it, but it was too late because the show's over and the pandemic happened, and then I wanted to watch I watched Owl House. I wanted to voice act in that, but that's in it. But I'm not stopping on voice acting.
It's wonderful. Yeah, I think voice acting is like there's a lot of animation people who accidentally get into voice acting because like they get, you know, they do like a voice in like the animatic or something, and it just sticks. And I've always wanted to do like a little like background voice or something, but I have a lot of respect for people who like that's what they want to do, because I think like
Hey, I have a lot of respect for a lot of people who work in animation who work their butts off to give us the best, and I think you guys deserve a lot of praise for it.
Thanks. Yeah, I would say just try and get in as many indie projects as you can. That you probably have reels and stuff, but yeah, honestly, like at the beginning, you have to be like on top and almost like be a little overbearing. You have to like send out emails, be like, "Hey, are you hiring? Are you doing this?" And it's like it's hard, like especially in the beginning. But once you get like a couple years in, I just ask friends now if they've heard it. Like if like, "Oh, do you know if this place is hiring?" And usually somebody knows somebody. But it's not like a nepotism thing either. It's like you get that networking ability because your friends know you're good, and you know your friends are good, so you all kind of like I have like 4 or 5 people. Like if I hear that my show is hiring, I'm like, oh, you should hire this person, because like not only are they great to work with, they're also just like so like word of mouth is everything, and like unfortunately it's really hard to fight for in the first couple of years, but once you get there, it'll be so much easier.
Yeah, that's for yeah. Now, my next question is, when working on the Owl House, what was it like? Who was your favorite character? And basically just what was your favorite moment working on the Owl House?
So I think I worked on like maybe 4 or 5 episodes as a board artist, and then I helped out with revisions on a couple also. I think my favorite to draw was Ida, because she was the easiest to draw, because you could make her do really feral stuff, and like she'd be in a funny pose, or she would just like pull something out of her hair, or like squat in a really funny way. I think yeah. Oh, okay. So the first episode I did was the episode where they reveal the Owl Beast form in the first season.
Oh, the intruder.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Like it was my first, but it was my favorite because it was like you referenced a lot of like horror movies.
I'm a huge fan of horror elements, and I really love how the Owl House incorporated a lot of that. And I think
Yeah.
it was a good example.
I think they knew they wanted to hit a horror episode early too, so that's why they had that one. So I mean, you had it in almost every episode, especially in the first season. But with that one, it was like, okay, let's do a bottle. We're going to do a bottle episode to introduce this concept of the Owl Beast. But we wanted to just make it like they're trapped, they can't go anywhere. This is literally like a horror movie. So we referenced a lot of stuff. But that's like, it was like really exploratory too, because like I was still learning how to draw the characters and stuff. And it was like a lot of, not pressure, but it was like, okay, I got to make this scary. So I watched a lot of horror stuff, even though I hate horror movies. I referenced Spirited Away for the scene where Ida's chasing King down the hallways, where she like slams into the wall and stuff. And then Spencer Wand animated those scenes later, and I didn't find that out for like a year after, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, that episode was like amazing. And then the other moment was just like Grom. Grom was so important.
Grom, I feel like, was a turning point for the Owl House in terms of its popularity, because like it was like amazing. Like I felt something about Luce and Amity during Lost in Language. I think I felt like something was going to come after that, and I was like, but then I was still surprised because I didn't know Dana and you guys were going to go that far, and I'm glad that happened.
I will, like, especially because I wasn't in-house, like, I think he was all kind of, like, kept even a secret from, not even from the artists, but from, maybe keeping it a secret is, like, too strong something to say, but it's, like, I think we held it close to our chest because, like, we were scared of stuff getting turned down, or that's at least what I felt the vibe was, but apparently, like, the higher-ups, like, really supported those decisions, as far as I know. But there was little moments, like, and it was like an all hands on deck situation too, because it was like a really important episode. And like it didn't change that much from the beginning to the end, but I got to do the little moment where like Amity's thinking about giving Luce the letter, and she's like holding it in her hands, and then Luce walks up in her fun outfit, like just before the fight. And then I got to do that fight against Grodd a little bit. And then right after, I think it was Haley who did like all the awesome dance stuff. I'm not 100% sure on that. So
Spencer did that, right? He did the animation for the whole Grom dance.
He definitely animated it. I think initially Haley boarded it, or they worked on it together on some capacity. I don't know. You're gonna have to look at the credit list stuff on that one.
Yeah,
I don't want to get that wrong for the thing.
What type of animes did you grew up with? Did you watch like? What was your favorite ones? Because
I loved anime. Like anime is probably my biggest inspiration. I try to keep like a nice balance of like Eastern and Western influences, but definitely, especially lately, been skewed more into anime influenced stuff. I grew up like obviously like the classic, like watching Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Card Captors.
I love Dragon Ball. I love it. It is my inspiration growing up. It's just something, and I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of One Piece.
Oh yeah, and actually that's what I was going to get to next, because like you don't know the word for anime at the time when you're watching, like when you're like under 10 and you see Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon on TV, like it's a cartoon, but it's different and you can't put your finger on why. And then I remember getting like my first thing of Shonen Jump, like a giant magazine version of it, and then reading One Piece. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. What's this? And now I have every volume of One Piece. I read it twice.
I can watch and read in One Piece a lot. I came to see One Piece film Red in theaters, and I saw it like 2 times, and I don't remember it.
I only saw Red like the last day. I think I was busy with work or something, and then I was like, oh shoot, Red is ending soon. I gotta go see. So I drove an hour out to the only theater that was still showing it on the last day, and it was just me and 3 other people in the theater. But it was like because everybody had already seen it at that point.
Yeah. Did you see Dragon Ball Superhero?
No, I haven't. But I think I saw Broly. I don't follow Dragon Ball as much as I used to. I do read Super though. I love Shonen Jump. The Shonen Jump app is only 2
$2.
The support manga directly instead of reading bootleg scans. Like that's my my pitch. I'm not sponsored, but please.
Yeah, I get you. I will say this though, I'm not really that big of a fan of Super, though I did enjoy the moral arc. I like the moral arc.
Yeah, the moral arc was alright. Yeah, I'm not hugely attached to it either. I just kind of want to see where they're going with it. I think my favorite things I'm reading right now are like still One Piece. My hero is getting really close to the end, and you can tell.
Yeah, that's
really picking up.
But I've been reading Berserk. Berserk is pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. I've it's been a while since I've read it, but I think I got about halfway through. I need to catch up again.
I also got into Junji Ito mangas to my regrets.
Yeah, I actually just got a hardbound copy of Uzumaki a couple months ago, and
I am not reading that ever again. I'm not reading his stuff ever again. I
wouldn't put it down.
I just read The Bully. If you're familiar with that story.
No, I'm not. I think because I don't do horror well, so the only ones I'm familiar with are Uzumaki now and the Amigara Fault, I think.
Oh my God, not that one.
Yeah,
that was horrifying.
That one still keeps me awake at night. I can't think about it too much.
I don't want to go to the damn mountain because of that.
No.
Like
it's good for memes, but like that's it. Like I love that this whole is for me meme. Like anytime that shows up, I'm a big fan.
I don't read his stuff as much anymore because I couldn't sleep because of me reading those every night. Though I will see Uzumaki when it comes on in Toonami soon.
Oh yeah, I think it got delayed again, but I am so psyched for that. Like it's take all the time you want at that point. I want them to do something special, you know.
Speaking of which, you grew up watching Toonami, right? Because
no, you know what's funny? There are some things as a Canadian that I did not grow up with. So like I'm aware of the concept of Toonami, but it's not something like we got on TV. So there's a few things like me and my partner, we talk about like, you know, sometimes they'll drop a it's gonna be really embarrassing. I don't even know the name of the show. It's like a Nickelodeon thing. It's with the statue and it talks and it's like they run and they do puzzle and there's like teams of like monkeys. What's it called? They just did a movie adaptation of it. But my partner references it all the time and I have no idea what the show's called. Like and that like all those Nickelodeon stuff I just didn't grow up with. So like I'm aware that like it was important and nostalgic for Americans. Like same with Toonami. But Canada had like its own stuff. Like we had like late night Teletoon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it had a lot of that. Did you grow up watching 16? Did you used to?
I did. Yeah. You know, I actually almost worked at not on the show, but I applied for the studio out of high school. I think they passed on me because I was still like pretty young, but that was definitely a place I wanted to work for.
Oh, that's cool. What?
Yeah, but like stuff like Teletoon was like, as far as I know, like because like what would happen sometimes is like America would cancel some shows. And then Canada would get it for like kind of cheap and then do reruns. So in the same way, like I think Adult Swim helped bring back Family Guy, like Teletoon helped bring back Clone High. Because like Clone High only aired like 3 or 4 episodes in America, you know, on MTV, and then Canada got it and then played all the episodes. And you'll see actually a lot of the bootlegs that are online still have the Teletoon logo corner.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that Clone High wasn't popular until like it got like reruns and it got a cult following. Now it's coming back.
Yeah. I think it's coming up really soon too.
Yeah, I need to watch the show. It's only 13 episodes, but I know it's created by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. So
yeah, and that seems like they're really invested in the reboot too. Like I trust those guys to do a good job now at this point.
Oh hell yeah. Did you have any like any video games growing up? Any fun, anything in general, basically?
Yeah,
that inspired you?
I am a big Sonic the Hedgehog kid. I'm looking at a huge amount of merch right now that's just scattered around my desk that I wish I could show you. But Sonic was one of the first things I started drawing. I remember like my friend bringing me a comic in grade school. And it was like issue 53 or something of the Archie comics. And I started just like tracing those. And now it's gotten to the point, like I've gotten this, like I'm holding my fingers together really close, but I've gotten this close to working on a Sonic thing like twice now. And that's like my white whale. Like I want to work on the Sonic thing so bad because I don't feel like I started drawing Sonic and I want to draw Sonic professionally now because there's something great about like being able to draw fan art on Twitter and then get a job because of that. I think that's like the coolest thing.
Yeah, like a lot of people who are fans of Sonic who did fan art, I'm pretty sure they work on Sonic now. So I'm pretty sure
if it's not the shows, it's the comics. Like it's I know a few of those people. They're all super nice and like I just love seeing people like something they grew up with being really invested in it and it paying off too.
I would love to work on a Jet Set Radio video game.
Oh, I think most like kids get like all those games. Like I love Jet Set Radio. It's so good. I've never played the Xbox one, but the Dreamcast one I hold dearly.
The Dreamcast one, it is a classic. I love Future, but I love Jet Set Radio because I used to play it so much on the Dreamcast. The music was amazing, like the cell shading. It is just a very great game. And I
still listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack is
it's one of my working soundtracks. And there was this meme going around a couple of years ago. It was like just this like Simpsons meme, but then I put one of the sounds from one of the music tracks from Jet Set Radio to it by Hideki Naganuma, and then he retweeted it later. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it was so cool. Like this guy whose music I love and still listen to was like, hey, that's a funny meme. Like,
hey man, that guy is active on Twitter a lot. So I get excited when he retweets my stuff. I'm like, oh my God. Because I'm just a huge fan of his work.
He's too online. He's like there are people who are very online, and he's maybe one of them. Like you do you at that point, you know.
Oh yeah, he talks about Family Guy a lot. It's fun. It's funny.
I don't understand at all. Like
I don't.
I've heard people tell me that, and I'm like, okay, like I think that's really funny.
What is the difference working as a storyboarder and an animator? If so, how?
I think nowadays they're a little closer, and that might be a mix of like people overposing their storyboards, or like you see a lot of animatics now on Twitter and stuff where like there's just so many drawings, and that's like a double-edged situation where it can help, but it also sometimes doesn't help at all. Like you get a lot of outsourced studios like in Canada and Korea and stuff where like if you overpose too much, like they can't make any creative decisions at that point.
Yeah.
But I think it does help to have some knowledge of how animation works. Because like I will sometimes pose out my boards. Like I'm guilty of it too, like overposing or even animating them. But I only do it for stuff I really want to sell or like a scene I think really needs it. I don't do it for everything. I think it's like if that's the expectation of the storyboarding job, I don't think that's the right call. But if it's something you want to do and you're not doing it, you know, for clout or be posted online, if you're doing it for like just because it's important to you, I'd say go for it. But I do think it helps because I've seen the opposite too, where it's like people get into storyboarding and they know kind of how animation works, but they don't at the same time, and they'll do something weird and they won't add in like a breakdown pose or something. And it's like, okay, well, how did he get to here without anything there in between? And like all they draw is an arrow sometimes. I'm just like, I get it if his character's just like walking off the screen or something, but I think there's a nice middle in there somewhere, you know, like maybe not the expectation of like, I don't know if you've seen the storyboards for Rise of the TMNT. They're great, but I don't personally think they're storyboards. I think they're more like rough animation tie downs or like previs animation. Like it's definitely rough animation, but period. But for an action show, you kind of, there's like, I don't think it's a tough situation because there are people who will say like, okay, like I need to do it this way or I need to do it that way. And I think it comes down to what you want to do, but I do think it's important to know a little bit of the animation process because I do like the animation in my spare time, but I don't like doing animation as a job because usually they're more strict about like how many frames, specific timing. For me, animation's like very loosey-goosey, and I go for the feeling versus like, you know, you have 20 frames to do this, and I'm like, okay, how do I do that? I have no idea.
Do you have any advice for aspiring animators and storyboard artists, including supervisor and director positions who want to break into the industry or do their own work?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. In like a general one is to like just post your work online, like even if it's like not done. I think one of my biggest kicks is like I think in like 2016 or 2017, like a big kickoff for me was like when I was still trying to like break into American jobs. When I was working on the OKKO game, I think I decided at one point to post daily on my Instagram, even though, you know, some days I just didn't have something and I would just draw something in 5 seconds. I would just make an effort to like, hey, I'm going to post online and post daily. And I did it for 100 days straight. So like that was still, so like I'm not on there that much anymore. And I think
Yeah.
I wish it's something I could do again, but I think you got to get eyes on you somehow. And even if it's fan art, even if it's just like, a personal project, I think done is better than perfect. And that's still something I have to tell myself, like when I'm working on a project for me or for work. Like nobody's going to see it if you don't put it out there. So it could be like your masterpiece or something, but if it's not visible to anyone, like nobody's going to know that you exist. So I think just like quantity is, sometimes better than quality in that scenario. And that's how I got my name out there. Like people knew that, like they knew I would post a lot of stuff, whether it was like, drawings of Sonic on Twitter, or, a podcast I was really into, like fan art for something, or like a GIF, or especially like if you want to get hired for a storyboard job, like if you make like a little GIF of something and put it on Twitter, or I mean, I know Twitter's kind of like a rough spot right now, but just any like, and like cross post, like put it everywhere. If you have a Twitter, put it on Tumblr, put it on Instagram, put it on like whatever other TikTok is huge right now. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it is. It's
I know,
like
I know a lot of people breaking into TikTok right now, especially in animation, and they're doing some good stuff, but they're also getting noticed. As for supervisor director stuff, I think that comes when you can jump into that like day one, right? Like because you need to kind of prove that you can do the thing. But I think the general timeline is like after like 2 or 3 years of like having shows under your belt, showing you can do the thing. Once you start advocating for yourself, you're like, no, this is what I want to do. Like you can't just ask like, hey, do you have any director positions? Like you have to like put it in your profile. Be like, I want to be a director in animation. I want to be a supervisor for storyboards. And like, I didn't fall into mine. Like I knew it was something I wanted to do. And I was starting to like look around and ask. And then someone came to me like, hey, do you want to supervise on this? And I was like, yes, I do. And now, and I think once you get the first one, like that's the hardest one to get. But once you get it, like you have something to point at that you can point to recruiters and be like, no, I can do this. And I'm worth your time. But confidence is a very hard thing to get in animation. Like I still, find issues with myself with it. So like it is a journey, but I think you gotta believe that you can do it. You gotta believe in that believes in yourself. And I think that's like it's an anime quote that I live by every day. So
well, those are some good advices, man. Like I do hope everyone hears this, because if they want to break out into like doing animation, I really hope they get to see this and they feel inspired.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank you for having me. I always try and answer like any DMs or questions, because like I've got a lot of people who always ask me how to like, especially the questions about like animation visas, or if you're working in another country, like how would you want to do work for America? So like I do my best to field any questions I get, just because I try to like pay that stuff forward, because I had people who I asked when I was breaking in, and I think it's really important to keep that flow going, because we do need new people in animation. And I think, it works best when you don't shut everything off and you try and include as many people as you can.
Now here's a Steven Universe question. Who is your favorite character? What was your favorite moment in Steven Universe? And would you like to see more of it if it would ever come back?
Ooh, I love Peridot. Peridot's really funny. She's a goblin, and just the most feral thing. And just like anytime, like especially in that season, like just before they got to the cluster, any scene with her was perfect. My favorite moment was, I think, watching the finale live. I think that was airing when I first moved here. Not the finale of Future, but the finale of
Change Your Mind.
Future. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I watched that online. Not online. Like I think it was like a friend's place or something, but like live when it was happening, and like just the room of people just like ugly crying.
Yeah.
I won't forget that. Like that was just great.
No, truth be told, I did not know that was actually the original series finale for Steven Universe, because I thought there was going to be a sixth season after the movie, but then I was like, wait, is that it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Because I was confused. I think a lot of people were confused.
I think everybody did. I remember even asking him, like, is that it? Like, and we were, I don't even think the crew knew. I think the crew was like, we need to keep this, you know, have some room, but we're not sure. Because I think at that time, like, Cartoon Network was like, okay, like, we'll see if you get another season, you know? And like, I think they even admitted that, like, that was supposed to be a series finale. The movie was supposed to be a series finale. But they kept pitching, like, want to do one more. We want to do one more thing, you know?
Yeah, I did hear that the show, there was some behind the scenes stuff, like the show got canceled after the fifth season and Rebecca had to ask for more because they were going to end it with the wedding. And we got those last few episodes and they wanted a movie and Future happened. And I'm glad Future exists, but I would have liked to see more.
I'm glad Future's there. And like, I think if we didn't get more, I'd be happy because I think the shell shock of Future, just like the tonal difference, is such a good note to end on. I think because it's so different from the rest of the series, and I think Rebecca says that it's different because Ian left to do OKKO, so she had the freedom to kind of just like make Steven go through his emo arc, and I kind of love that like, okay, he's grown up, he's going through those hard teen feelings. And I like the idea of like, he's just like wandering the country, you know, trying to figure himself out. I think that's an all right ending for Steven. So like, I wouldn't be bummed if it ended where it is. I wouldn't, I think they would have to have a reason to come back, I think. And I'm not sure.
Maybe it can be like the next generation. Maybe it could have been like, something that wouldn't destroy or ruin the ending for Steven Universe Future, but
yeah, I think we need to be careful about like next generation stuff because like I don't know if I read all of Naruto and it's like I'm not a huge Naruto fan. Like I read it because I started it and I want to see how it ended, but I started reading Boruto and I do not care for it at all.
Boruto shouldn't exist, Charlie.
Yeah, but I'm a One Piece stan, so like I don't, you know, like if there's any Boruto fans hearing this, like, and you got to take that with a grain of salt, okay? Like,
I don't think we're gonna get a One Piece new generation, and I'm glad because
no, if there's a 2-piece, I will donate all of my boxes.
I think Oda says something. He's not gonna do that. I think he's just gonna do what Toriyama did after Dragon Ball and just do one shots.
Yeah, I hope he just kind of does whatever he wants after. Like that boy needs a break.
He does. Oh, and One Piece is also ending too. So I'm sad for that.
Hearing that it's going to end, I wonder how much like that's like. And I've seen the articles and stuff where like it's definitely ending, and I'm like, they've said that like every year for the last like five years. So like, but you can definitely tell something's different this time. Where like where we are at these arcs and stuff. Like stuff is happening. So
I just want to know who's going to be the next Straw Hat. Is it going to be Carrot, Yamamoto?
I was a big advocate for Yamato. Yeah, I was a big advocate for her. But I don't know where you at in the arc, so I don't want to spoil it for you.
Oh no, I'm done. I'm on the Egghead hour. I know she's still.
Oh, okay.
I know he's still on a Wano, but he did say something about how he still wants to join with Luffy. So
yeah, he did say that. That's true. I would like him because I like his design, I like his concepts a lot. I don't know who I'd want to join. I like the idea of like the fleets and stuff because I love Bartholomew.
I love that guy.
You know, Bart. What's his name? Because Bartholomew was the
Bartolomeo,
I think.
I think so.
It's these names I've been reading forever, but I've never said out loud, right? So
yeah, like that other guy, that other.
It's like when you mispronounce. It's like when you mispronounce Pokemon names because you've only ever read them, and then it's something different, and you're like, what?
Yeah, that's the same for me because I'm not really that big on Pokemon, truth be told.
I used to be, and I've kind of fallen out a little bit. But like I remember saying Rayquaza once, and I was like, "Is that how you say it?" And I wasn't sure.
I'm more of a Digimon fan, to be honest.
That's fair. I've got a friend who's a big Digimon fan, so I can't shit talk Digimon right now because they would hold it against me.
Man, I don't hold it against anyone. Share your opinion. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Pokemon fan.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, like you can't love everything.
I do need to go back and read or watch Yu-Gi-Oh!
There was a point in quarantine, I think, where I got really into the amount. Like I think Yu-Gi-Oh was on Netflix. Like most of Yu-Gi-Oh was on Netflix, and I think I also like I was sick, but not with I had COVID at some point, but like this was before COVID was like really hitting. It was when we got sent home, and I was like I wasn't feeling hot. But I watched all of it like while having a fever, and I think watching Yu-Gi-Oh while having a fever is a very specific mood.
Mm-hmm. Like I used to I was actually willing to go back and watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of what happened with the creator, Takahashi.
Oh, I'm not too familiar with it. With him, what happened?
Oh, you didn't hear? I think it was last year. He died while drowning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he passed away.
He was saving someone. He was saving people.
Yeah, I remember when that was going viral because I remember seeing a lot of stuff where, like, obviously he passed away, but then he did animation for one of the movies, and I think that
he did.
viral.
He did it for Dark Side of the Dimension, and that's just really fucking amazing too, because the guy has a lot of love for his creations, and it's just sad to hear that he's gone, and it made me go back and watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And remember how much I really loved this series and how much it was a show I grew up with when I used to watch it back on Kids WB.
Yeah, me and my brother were really into Yu-Gi-Oh! Together. And I think I think we played one of the games recently. Because he's still in Canada, so we'll play some games online together. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Was one of them. It was like a really cool flashback, you know?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just a delight to watch, and I think I used to play some of the card games too, or I used to collect them because they were just like a lot, and they were fun to collect.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like the last one I was into in grade school, because I think Beyblade came and I was in that phase where, like, you know, you stop watching cartoons because, like, you know, I'm an adult now. You're like 14, but I actually eventually looped all the way back. So, but like, so I didn't do Beyblade, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like my last send off. I still think I have cards at my parents somewhere. But it's in some shoebox somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I have another card somewhere in my boxes I need to look for.
I think when you subscribe to the Shonen Jump app, sorry to bring that up again, but I think actually when I signed up, they mailed me a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was like a bonus they were doing at the beginning of it. So I just have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card somewhere in my apartment, but I don't know where it is.
Well, hopefully you'll find it. Now, here's my next question. I think it's another animation one.
Oh, sure.
What is your opinion on the whole how animated movies are pushing that into the Spider-Verse animation, like we see with stuff like Puss in Boots, Ninja Turtles, the new Ninja Turtles movie, The Bad Guys, The Mitchells versus the Machine?
I love it because, I mean, Spider-Verse was like I guess like the closest thing I probably had to a religious experience. Like, I think that's one of the only movies I've seen over 10 times in theaters.
I have it in theaters. That was my bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair though, because like I think for me it was like Christmas time-ish, and it was like the middle of winter in Canada, so I was like, no, but I still went. But I love that movie dearly because it, like, I think textured animation is so important. Like it's just like learning that everything has to be like silky smooth or like hyper realistic, and like I think that's even important in games. It's like I'd rather play a game that's super stylized than like super great realistic. I do think maybe it's oversaturated a little. Like, I mean, it's been Bad Guys, Puss in Boots, now the Tim NC movie. I think, I mean, the first two that really did it were Spider-Verse and Mitchells, I guess.
Yeah.
I am scared to see, like, not scared, that's not the right word. I really want to see what the next step is, you know, because like we've been in this nice comfy spot, but like I feel like every other studio hasn't improved on the Spider-Verse style. They've just done like, oh, this is our send-off or like this is our appreciation of the Spider-Verse style, but I haven't seen anything that's even. I want to see something one up it. I want to see what the next thing is, and I don't know what the answer to that is, unfortunately. But I was gonna say it was even at the point where like when they announced Spider-Verse sequel, I was like, ooh, can they do that again? Can they do that but better? Like it's like but maybe it's because I hold that movie too close to my heart. Like I am all for anything that's not like the Emoji Movie. Like anything that looks like super cool and refreshing, I'm down for. So I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. For sure.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think these movies that I mentioned that they're doing their own thing, but they were inspired by Into the Spider-Verse. I think Wish, that new Disney princess movie, Wish, is doing the same thing where they're using like some 2D stylized 2D CGI stylized 2D is what they called it.
Oh, I haven't seen anything for it yet, but yeah, I'm not surprised it's trying to make the move though.
I'm actually very excited to see like this because like Into the Spider-Verse really did change animation in a way for out like in theaters, because you get this wonderful animation that looks stylized and also cartoonish in the most wonderful way. Like Bad Guys has that animation, and I heard it was inspired.
Oh, I love Bad Guys. I love
Bad Guys was amazing. I love it. It has that early Dragon Ball Toriyama art style, and I think that was the inspiration for it.
I compare it a lot to like it's like a beautiful mix of like Lupin, right? But mishmash with like this European like aesthetic. Like there's a lot of like European animation studios that has that same sort of like overly like Ernest and Celestine, like a very cartoony approach, but it's like that with like 1960s, 70s Lupin the Third. Like it was like the story was like, not all there for me, but like visually, like I saw that movie in a drive-in, and like Bad Guys is I have the art book. Like that's such a good movie.
Yeah, like I hope we get a sequel because I want to see more of I want to see more of this. I want to see more of the animation. I want to see more of the characters, and I hope they do I hope Zootopia 2, since that's been announced, I hope they bring in like new animation, because like I want to see Disney have fun with that, like Into the Spider-Verse, Bad Guys, Puss in Boots and whatnot, where they have their own art style, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and like, from what I understand, Strange Worlds apparently has something like that, but I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know if that really hit what they were looking for. But
I saw the movie. It was I can't really explain it. It's hard.
Is it kind of like mid then? Like
I was okay with the movie. I mean, I liked the fact that the main character was openly gay. I love that.
Oh, I didn't. I think I heard that there was a gay character. I didn't know it was the main character.
That's cool. It was the main character's son. He plays a big role, and he is undoubtedly unambiguously gay.
I wonder why they tried to nerf the ad campaign then. Yikes.
Oh, we all know why. And,
yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is. Now, let's go on to Miyazaki movies. What was your favorite Studio Ghibli movie, and did you grow up watching any Miyazaki films?
I think I rented, and on the same weekend, I think I rented, like as a teen, Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke on the same weekend, and those were my first Ghibli films. I don't remember how old I must have been, like maybe 15 or 16, maybe. So like I was still like entering anime, but like those were my first. And like they really hit me, but I didn't know there was more for a very long time. And then I think in college, I finally found out about all of them. I'd seen a majority of them. There's still a couple I haven't seen, like The Wind Rises. But for a long time, my favorite was Porco Rosso, because I just thought the animation in that one so cool. Like there's a really nice water animation where they just do it in 2 colors, but it reads so well. But then like I think literally like a year ago, my partner showed me Howl's Moving Castle for the first time. I'd never seen it.
I love that movie.
And that's not my favorite. Like it was like that was the closest I'd gotten to having like that Spider-Verse religious experience again was Howl's, just because like the concepts and the world and the anime, like everything was so good. I bought the book. I read the book after like the original book it's based off of. Like
Yeah.
I got really into the idea of it for a while.
My favorite movie growing up was Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service
Oh, I love Kiki's. Yeah, Kiki's super good.
and Castle in the Sky.
Castle. Yeah. Also, I think I'm looking at like some of our books here of like I have most of the storyboards for those. Like they're all. We went to the Ghibli Museum while I was still visiting here. They were doing it at the Oscar Museum or something, like some sort of film museum out here, and seeing Ghibli originals was crazy. I think it's a permanent setup in Japan, but like I haven't been yet. So when they brought it here, like that was the best.
Miyazaki makes some really inspiring movies, and I heard he's making another one coming in 2023. I mean, this year. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm excited.
He's saying he's going to retire and then he doesn't.
Yeah, he always says that.
He's like a cat that wants to go outside. Like, do you want to go outside? It's like, no. Well, I kind of want to go outside.
Like he changes his mind whenever he goes.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever seen
cool.
a movie called Grave of the Fireflies?
I don't think so. I've heard of it.
I cried.
Oh no, okay. I'm aware of this one. I have not seen it. I do know what it's about. So I think somebody spoiled it for me a while back, but I'm aware of the concept, and I do understand why you would have cried for sure.
Like, oh my God, it is just so much trauma.
Yeah, spoilers. It's the one where they're caught in a nuclear, like a war fallout thing.
Yeah,
or something.
World War II, where
Oh,
they're trying to
gosh.
survive and whatnot. It is just sad.
Yeah, not a great time.
Now, I'm gonna talk something more lighthearted, and I know you don't work on the Owl House anymore, but I'm sure you caught up to the show to to season 3. What are your thoughts on it? Any new characters you like? Your favorite moments? And
you know what's funny? I'm actually still behind on I am caught up to season 2, but I'm waiting till the last episode comes out to watch them all in one sitting, because I've had little things spoiled for me. Because my partner actually, funny enough, works on the 3rd season, or worked on the 3rd season. So I would hear little nuggets, but I would like I would cover my ears because I didn't want to hear. So I know little things, but I don't want anything spoiled for me till the last one's out, and I just haven't had a good time to sit down and watch the 2 episodes. I think I've seen the first one. Maybe I even saw the Max actually, so I don't even know if they've changed, but it's been a minute. So I am behind. I'm aware of what happens so far, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to end, basically. So I'm right there with you. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I am sad this show is over, and I'm sad how the treatment of this show got from Disney. Like them cutting season 3 into only 3 specials, which I love those 2 specials, and I can't wait for the final one. But I'm just gonna be sad. I'm gonna be crying when the show ends, because like I don't know, the show is really special to me, more so than Gravity Falls.
Yeah, it's hard that it's something we're like used to now, where it's like your show just ends and it's always like a corporate decision now, where it's like, like Steven Universe, okay, KO, like that KO really hit me because that was a really special show for me. It's a bummer that that's the expectation now, that it's just gonna like end. I don't know what the solution is for that, unfortunately, but
Right, but hey, at least they had a good run. They had some amazing people working on the show. It's still loved by a lot of people. Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, Over the Garden Wall.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on Infinity Train?
I liked it a lot, and I do wish it got a proper ending. I watched it all during quarantine when they dropped it on HBO Max. And that's another show where like I don't agree with how they handled that.
Oh my God, the treatment that show got is just crazy, and I would have loved to see more of the show. Like come on.
I think at least give it a movie to end it. Like at the very least, like I think if you're going to do something serialized or like something story based, like give people the opportunity to do the ending they want to do. Like maybe don't, like if you don't have the budget for however many seasons or whatever corporate decision you say, like fine, but like at least give them the wiggle room to make an ending, At least an ending that makes sense, or at least an ending that's open enough that one day, if it's a cult hit enough again, they come back to it. Yeah, just give them an opportunity, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just hope these shows do come back sometime in the near future. But for right now, they are where they are, but it's just good that these shows existed in the first place.
Yeah, I think I'm excited for is the shows that will come out of the people that these shows inspired. Like, so in the same way that like we have shows that like people who worked on Adventure Time worked on that are coming out, or even before then, like, I mean, I think you've seen the whole like that image of like Flapjack, like people who worked on Flapjack and all the shows that came out of that.
Oh yeah, didn't J.G. Quintel and Alex worked on that show?
Yeah, I think people need to update that image more, because now there's so many other shows that have come out where people have spiraled off of it. And like that family tree of a graphic needs to get much bigger.
Yeah, like how Rebecca Sugar used to work on Adventure Time before she left to work Steven Universe.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see like they've definitely like got into like some of these creators have gone into like not hiding, but like they're definitely like they're always working on the next thing. So I'm excited to see the next thing they make is. So like we can be upset that the thing is over, but they're always going to be striving to make something new. So I can't wait to see what they're working on in a couple of years.
Yeah, same here, because whatever it is, I'm pretty sure it'll be something that people will say it was worth the wait.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I got to bounce, but this was lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. You have a great day, and
you too.
I hope you and your partner have it good as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.